Good day, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Business Notions 101. This is a simple vlog of where I document my learnings in running two businesses in the course of 5 years, with hopes that you learn some lessons from me on the things that I've done right and the things that I've done wrong. So I believe it's been about 4 or 5 years since the last time I've done another episode of Business Notions 101. And in that time, I've run two businesses. As you know, I run a small budget smart home company, which is Houston's Home Automation. And I run a small transport company called Zenith Transport, where I basically transport people and parcels within a 10-mile radius of where I live. Now, 100% complete transparency, one business is doing great, one business is doing not so great. And with this video, I want to focus on the 3 things that I did not so great in the first business and how I translated and learned from those mistakes to operate the second business correctly. So the first thing that I did wrong in the Houston's Home Automation business is I didn't analyze the market correctly. I thought that the smart home industry was a very new industry, and I thought that the market would come since the technology was so new, and with my blinders on, I figured that everybody needed that technology. Turns out they don't. Most people don't need a smart home. Most people just need a couple security cameras, maybe a smart lock, and that's about it. So with my first business, Houston's Home Automation, I sold smart lights, smart locks, and smart cameras to people on a budget. But what ended up happening is these people didn't have the money or the infrastructure to even get smart home equipment. So selling somebody a smart light ended up turning into installing lights into bad power outlets, or not power outlets, but power circuits, and even sometimes having to replace wiring. Now, I'm not an electrician, but I know electricity, so I did it. And then installing smart locks ended up turning into people's doors falling off of rotten hinges, or like misaligned doors, or you know how when you have to have an apartment and somebody kicks in the door, so they put one of those anti-kick plates on it. So I ended up having to like install around that. And again, that's not installing smart locks, that's fixing a broken door. Again, I can fix a broken door, but that's not what I'm in business for. And finally, installing smart cameras ended up turning into 2 things of its own. It was basically turned into hanging TVs and people wanting all-out security systems. I don't do security systems. I had to teach myself what a security system was and do that. But again, that wasn't smart home. That was security systems. There are people for that. Notice the pattern here? So with all that said, it ended up turning into me not enjoying what I was doing. Not to mention people with their haggling and people not being able to pay and people having issues with thises and that's and rescheduling. I couldn't build a life around that. And that's what you build a business for. You build a business to free yourself from the day-to-day work of, one boss. But what ends up happening as a business is you have a bunch of different bosses and you end up being beholden to all of them, which ends up ruining your life, essentially. So that was the first mistake. I ended up not doing what I wanted to do, and because of that, I ended up not enjoying what I was doing. The second mistake is I had on too many hats. Like, you'll have to have a lot of hats on in the first part of your business, but having too many hats, doing the marketing, like I was running a YouTube channel, I had a podcast going, I was running my website, plus marketing, and doing the installs and doing the customer service. It was way too much. And I ended up feeling really overwhelmed with it all. So I started dropping the balls on things. First thing went was the podcast, and then the website went. I still keep the YouTube channel going, but I really streamlined it down to one product brand to make things simpler. And that's leading to my third mistake. My third mistake is that I was too over-diversified. It's almost like if you go to a restaurant and you see a bunch of stuff on the menu, you know that the restaurant's probably going to be trash because how do you have all that stuff back there? You have no specialty. So that was definitely my third mistake, is not really drilling down and specializing on one thing. Now, I started doing that toward the end with Wise products, but it was one of those things where it was a little too late, and my passion just kind of went away from it. So I took a lot of those lessons, and in the midst of doing that, I ended up creating Zenith Transport LLC, which was a business that I kind of decided to make the complete opposite of that. You see, I heard a podcast from Naval Ravikant. He talks about your area of excellence versus your area of expertise. So your area of excellence is something that you do without even thinking, but a bunch of people could do it. That could be something like driving. That could be something like talking. Or anything that you do without thinking that a bunch of people can do. Now, your area of expertise is something that you can do that people come to you for advice for, and you are really specializing in. Like if somebody that's a piano player is an expert piano player. They're not excellent at it, they're just an expert at it. It's a different thing. And both of those you can monetize, but if you monetize one, like if you monetize your area of expertise, you have to charge a premium for that area of expertise, because you and only you know what you're doing with that. And then with your area of expertise, usually your cases are extremely specialized. So that's why you charge a premium for that. So that's what Houston's Home Automation was. Now what Zenith was the opposite. It was my area of excellence. Before I had this job, I used to drive literally all over the state of Pennsylvania building casinos. So I've only had one small accident at the beginning of my driving career, so I'm excellent at driving. So I decided to monetize that because it was easier and easily repeatable, which leads me on to the first good thing that I did with Zenith Transport. You have to identify something in the market that there is going to be a constant need for. Where I live, of course, there's Uber and Lyft. There's not a lot of public transportation, so everybody's always going to need a ride. Everybody's always going to need things delivered, and to a lesser extent, there'll always be somebody that needs to move something somewhere, as in like apartment moves and things like that. So I decided to monetize that, and it's worked well. But the thing that I did different from the second thing that I did different from Zenith than I did Houston's Home Automation is with Houston's Home Automation, my base of clients was in West Philly, where I used to go to church. So I ended up doing a lot of work in West Philly. I've done some jobs out in Midwestern PA. I've done some jobs in Washington, D.C. I've done jobs in New York. I was literally all over the place. My radius of work was like over 150 miles. That's ridiculous, because the time that your commute that you do things has to make sense. And if it doesn't make sense, you should factor that into your price too, which is something else that I didn't do. But with Zenith Transport, I ended up focusing in on a very small 5 to 10 mile radius of where I live. That way, I have control over my time, and I'm not beating up my car too much, and I get that repeating customer base that sees me every day and see what I do every day, so they begin to trust me. And from that, you get clients. So you moved from the Uber and Lyft phase to what I like to call the QuickBooks phase. You basically get clients that are paying you cash to take them to and from work every day. And you're putting that in your QuickBooks instead of relying off of, Uber and Lyft's customer pool. You have a select few clients every day. And as a quick caveat, I should say, only have about 1 or 2, clients, and make sure they match your lifestyle, unless you're out there chasing money, but that's a whole different story. But I will tell you this, chasing money doesn't end well. And the third thing that I did a lot better with this one versus Houston's Home Automation is I monetized my hobby in tech with Houston's Home Automation, but this one I monetized my hobby with running. With getting in shape. That's what Zenith Transport stands for. Zenith literally means the ultimate form of doing something. So the idea with Zenith Transport was this is supposed to make me become an Ironman, because now that I have control of my time, I can run for 3 or 4 hours a day. I can work out for 2 or 3 hours a day. And it's completely paid for by this van, and it's sort of a self-sustaining operation. I'm also paying off my mortgage and car payments and stuff like that, all while actually training. So it works out like that. Now, again, it took me 5 years, one failed business, to learn and make one successful business. And you notice that, transporting people is not sexy. It's not, event coordinating, or it's not something super technical. It's not a sexy business. It's an easy business. It's a reliable business with reliable customers. That's the next thing that you want to do. So I've got 4 things here. You make sure your business is a business. It should be boring. It should be boring. If you are excited about your business and it's probably too much. Your business should be one of those things that you do every day, but you enjoy doing it. Now, it's a lot harder. It's a lot easier said than done. So those are my 3 tips on the lessons that I learned from starting an unsuccessful business versus a successful business. Hopefully you learned something from it. Thanks for listening to me. I've been Patrick Houston on Business Notions 101. And as always, stay profitable out there. Stay diligent. And most importantly, stay anti-fragile. Look it up. Take it easy, guys.